For me, the first deck I want to try the Blood Moon Urza Saga thing is in the Monument to Endurance deck. Yeah, we're getting reports that the Blood Moon Monument thing is legal today. Not something I had. I thought that it was going to be a change that went live with Final Fantasy. But it's fun that we get to explore it. So this was my last build of the Monument. And again, I would have been more prepared had I realized that this was today. Between the with Faithless Looting and Inti and Cookbook, this is also like a really nice candidate for the Blood Moon deck, where you can just loot them away if they are unnecessary. And I've been kind of thinking I just want to potentially trim the Marco Sharkos here, although they are pretty good in this archetype. I think it's more important to have Inti. Could possibly cut the Galvanic Blast though. Doesn't exactly feel like a good metagame to be cutting the blasts in. But I do think you want to start off with 4 Blood Moons. Mako over Ragavan starts to make more sense. Oh, turning the Mako into Ragavan makes more sense. Well, if we're cutting the Galvanic Blast, the Ragavans are way worse. Because then you don't have the creatures or the removal to facilitate it. We have built Frog Monument. I think it's worse than Mono Red Monument usually. Do these gardens get worse too? The gardens seem like they get a little bit worse. I feel like we can trim at least one. Did you consider Magus over Proper Moon? Well, if you're gonna main deck it, it's gonna be Blood Moon. It's like not even like really a conversation. I think in the Lightning Bolt Boros format, like this one like just stays in play. I mean, not that it's great in either of those matchups anyways, but yeah, I don't think so. Or you're talking about for the Rakdos deck. I did consider Magus. It's just a bit fragile against Eldrazi. I think we're gonna try no Sharks first. Shark is so good in this deck though. So every time I try to make my hand cut it, it doesn't want to. I think it's the move. Now this is kind of an old sideboard. We've got all these Grafdigger's cages here because Breach was really popular. The Neoform deck is kind of out of the format almost. It's really weird. I can't even necessarily explain to you why that deck is gone. In fact, I kind of still want to main deck a Vexing Bauble for Neoform. It's like you just cannot really beat that deck otherwise. I think we'll just try to sideboard a bunch of Vexing Baubles. Inti feels so much worse with Asmo as the only 1-drop. Well, good thing we also have Looting, Galvanic Blast, Mox Opal. If you're talking about like the creature for the 1-drop to trample onto, Inti is not really very good in Modern because of its ability to like put in a counter on an attacking creature when you like that part is nice, but for the most part you're triggering this with Cookbook and Looting. And in Street Wraith. And most of the time you're triggering Inti and you're getting like a card or 2 off of it and they kill it with removal and you get like a nice 2-for-1. That's kind of the main play pattern with it. It's not really like I attack, I put a counter on something. You know, that's just not this format. Alright, don't think we need these Inguses. The orbs are obviously good if we run into a Catchamos style deck, but those decks are so unpopular. Maybe we play 1 still though. Do like the second lantern in the sideboard. It does seem like we need some anti-storm hate. So is that going to be Soulless Jailer for us? I think so. Could it be time for Blood Sun to return? It helps a little bit against Ugin's Lab, Surveil Lands, and Saga. That'll probably be everywhere. Well, it's now much worse against Saga, so I would probably say no. Yeah, I think I want Jailer over Damping Sphere. Honestly, like it does seem like that's kind of our weakest matchup here with these main deck moons now. Although we also, I guess we also kind of need, to be able to board out all of our blood moons. So maybe we just bring in quad Unholy Heat. Although, are there any linear matchups where the blood moons are really bad, where we would want like Shark instead? Storm, but we already have the Jailers to bring in. It's probably Jailer, but just up Inti a bit. Yeah, that's true. We can maybe go down on some Intis when we bring them in. Maybe like 2 Heat, 2 Pyroclasm. I'm a bit worried. No, we probably need to do all Heats. This way we can bring in 4 against Dimir. Just cut the 4 moons against Dimir. Why no TS? Why no Thoughtseize? Well, we have no black lands in our deck. This is just mono red deck. Please subscribe. Keep this. Let's put back the ring. Something I haven't said in about a year. We're up against Prowess here. Athena wants to go outside again, but I gotta take my turn first, I think. Yeah, if they have Muta, the cookbook also doesn't play around it very well, so I think I'm just blasting. Seems like they have it. I'm gonna let Athena outside where our opponent smashes us in the face. She's so anxious because it's gonna rain. She's just like staring outside, and she's like, "Wait, rain? No, thank you." Oh, they've kept a 1-lander. Interesting. Well, let's get a cookbook down. Can we not do another day of Saga rules talk? Well, we're currently playing the Saga rules deck, so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to avoid, I think. Athena's so funny. She has to come inside because it's starting to rain. And then 30 minutes later, she's like, "Please let me go outside." I think she looks outside and she sees, "Oh no, it's starting to rain. I need to come back inside." It's very cute. Got shot. Okay. They didn't spend a mana on that. So they could spend a mana on Light Up the Stage. Now, you could have done this main phase 1 and get some extra damage in. There's a Steel Cutter, and then there's a Barbarian Ring. Now, is it going to be better to make a Saga token, or is it going to be better to get the Monument online? Seems like I just want to make the Saga token. Okay, Bloodsun will stop at Chapter 2 Saga rank and make Sunstrix stay at Chapter 2. Okay, that's good. So yeah, Bloodsun not completely forever unplayable. It's great. So they don't flashback the Lava Dart to make the construct, or should I to make the token here. I'm going to go ahead and if I block, they can Lava Dart and then they make the token. All right, yeah, we'll just get a Shadowspear on this bad boy instead, probably, and play an Inti if we don't draw Mox Opal. Okay, that's a pretty good one. Probably main phasing that. Instead of playing the Inti. Pretty close to just being able to blast them. Actually, you know, maybe I just like there's like not a low chance. Like the main ways they kill me are like with mutagenic growth. Or like they draw land and there's a good chance a land deals them 1 or 2 damage, and if it's 1 damage they tap their ring, then I just blast them. Can Prowess ever beat Shadowspear? Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm at 11. This dart puts me at 10, plus another Prowess trigger. Which is 4 plus 3. So do they have another bolt? They've already used 2. They spend a mana on the gut shot this time. This puts me to 10. The dart puts me to 9. So we'll make them use the dart first. But I need to calculate if I can play around a mutagenic growth by sacking a food. I don't think I can. Oh. That was a freebie. Alright, so in come the heats, out come the moons. You have Vexing Bauble against them? It's kind of interesting. Let's try to bobble over a lantern. The lantern's not irrelevant either, of course. Let's just try it. Take, blaster. Well, they're at 5. I needed them to go to 3. Or 4. Are the rule chains live in paper yet? They shouldn't be live in paper till Final Fantasy releases. They just had to implement them earlier here. Which is good for us. Growth, gut shot, lava dart, a lot of hits. Well, yeah, I mean, gut shot... Maybe... I mean, making it 1 mana does make it pretty bad. The thing is, these all trigger prowess still too, which is weird. But yeah, I agree it's worth trying. What was the rule change? So now, if you Blood Moon with Urza Saga in play, your Blood Moon stays around, or your Urza Saga stays around, and if it's on Chapter 2, it can still make constructs. The opponent just lava darts first, we were dead, yeah. Because we can't beat the mutagenic growth. Soulscar Mage! What are you doing here, Soulscar Mage? Get out of here. Okay, round 2 of the challenge is going to start soon. If we end up O2ing and doing Blood Moon Saga all day, that's also okay, of course. Oh, you know what? It's probably better for me to play the Saga turn 1. I've dug the Helga deck. Any updates? I want to cut the 4th Omnath for the first Nissa. That 3-mana Nissa that landfalls, gets an elemental into your hand. Besides that, not really much, at least in the main deck. Same Metamorphose. Also, would Bloodsun prevent Saga to gain the first ability if Saga is played after? If Saga is played after, yes, but it would still just be... Yeah, it would make it blank, yeah. They Revelry my cookbook. I do have a second cookbook. You always should attack here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe that's just not true, but... In general, it just kind of seems like I'm going to block almost never, right? Alright, so the challenge started. Opponent's not here yet, though. So one thing that's interesting about tapping this cookbook now is that if our opponent does bolt the Inti, then they don't get the Steel Cutter trigger, but I think it's just probably better for me to be able to Asmo something potentially. Maybe you should have just discarded first. Okay, get rewarded here. So now we can discard the Saga or the Barbarian Ring kind of easily. Opponent's down to 7. Play this Saga. Does Modern Prowess not play Monstrous Rage? Yeah, Monstrous Rage is, like, I think, in my opinion, really far away from a playable Modern card. Guess I save this for Slick Shot show off. Yeah, it's very far away from playable Modern card. Like, Modern is just not very much about attacking and blocking. Excuse me. Yeah, it's like just not very much about attacking and blocking. You have Steel Cutter now to give some trample. Like DRC has flying, Slickshot Shelf is flying, Steel Cutter has trample. You don't usually play this. So, like, it's really only good with Monastery Swift Spear, too. Okay, it seems like my challenge opponent has shown up. And 1 minute ago they chose to play first, but they have not made a mulligan decision yet. They've mulliganed to 6 now. My hand is pretty weird. I'm going to keep, though. Okay. I haven't seen a Dragon's Claw in a bit. It makes sense to play. Alright, so we're 1-0 in the league here with the Blood Moon deck. Let me get the hider up for it. But I'd count stuff like Basim, Imri, Tamio, Ragavan as a full point, because those cards are just like really, really, really good with Opal. Or like the 3-mana ones are like less good. Okay, we're on a 5-card hand. Let's keep this. Kind of a sketchy hand. Do you think the new moon interaction is good for Modern? No. Not really. Could you briefly explain the Blood Moon changes? Yes, if you have Blood Moon and there's an Urza Saga in play, all of the sagas become mountains. They no longer progress and they don't die. Go to graveyard go to the graveyard like they used to. However, if the saga was on chapter 2, then the saga can still make constructs for the rest of the game, or at least as long as Blood Moon is in play. So now, even though Blood Moon and Urza Saga have been mortal enemies the entirety of their tenure here in the Modern format, they are now all of a sudden best friends. Okay, I don't draw the mana to cast the Asmo. Next turn, though, we can Asmo double kill, so because we get Mox Opal. Is it another buff for Amulet Titan? So it's a buff in the sense that Blood Moon isn't as good against them anymore. Is it a nerf in the sense that people are going to be playing so many Blood Moons that you don't want to play Amulet Titan? That could end up being the case. Alright, game 2. So the Blood Moons do look pretty good here. Let's keep them in, especially on the play. I'm interested in also playing the rest of my removal spells. We need to keep Shadowspear in to kill Ketramos. Maybe not all of these. Maybe play like 3. Again, one thing I really like about this deck is between like Looting and Cookbook and Inti, you can like loot away your extra Blood Moons, especially if they're bad game 1. So it feels like a pretty natural first deck to test it in. I believe the rule changes in paper go live with the full release date, but I would double check if you have like an event before then. Alright, mulligan. Okay, our density of functional hands this match has not been very high. Okay, so let's keep this. A lot of times when I have Monument Saga, I just lead on the Saga so I can do turn 3 Cookbook Monuments, and I think on this mulligan to 5, that's going to be where we want to be. Oh, well, the 5 get wear tear. It is less than ideal. They kept a 1-lander, though. Who's laughing now? Oh, maybe them if they have another blast. Ragavan, 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 Ragavan. Okay, so the odds that this monument resolves and doesn't get binding seem kind of low. I'm still going to cast it, I guess, because I'm not going to have 3 mana after this. Do rounds like this make you reconsider the merit of Arena hand smoothing? I don't know what you mean by reconsider or what you think my opinion on that is. So they just drew a land, and they did not play Ragavan earlier. That sucks. All right. Like the existence of Mana Flood and Mana Screw existing are very important for like games of Magic the Gathering to be as good as possible. Well, we've got the Blood Moon and the Saga this time. We're not playing this deck at the challenge. No, we're playing the Rakdos deck that we trophied with yesterday. I probably would have if I had realized when I started the stream that the changes went live. I just forgot to test it yesterday. Windswept Heath. Okay, that's a lot of cookbooks. Let's go ahead and play. Well, maybe I just want to get the Moon Slam next turn. Okay, let's play the Looting then. Nice. Should be okay to just be on 1 cookbook. They've graveyarded a Thoughtseize. We'll see if they gravely regret that or not. And now we've been told that this works. This is the first time we're doing this on stream. Resolves. Still has the ability, confirmed. That seems pretty good. Wow. They pitched a Siege Rhino. Let's make a Saga token. Well, that was stupid. Why did they do this? I think I'm gonna cut a Lantern for a Heat, and maybe I'll play 1 less Moon on the draw. Okay, so they're at a mold to 6. So changes aren't until September. BNR changes aren't until September. Surely we can figure something out about this. Torpor. Oh yeah, sorry, we should have boarded into Orb, but maybe they need some help. Yeah, the Blood Moon probably wins anyways, but of course, like the fact that you can main deck both Urza Saga and Blood Moon is like, in a big extent, the problem. This should go live in paper tomorrow, from what I understand. Arborist, the 19 months. Thank you. Welcome back. If they kill the Inti in my instep and I discard something, I can still use the card until next turn. So you usually want to kill this like at the main phase if you have the option. Opponent chose not to get a basic here. I think I'm discarding the second Inti end of turn. We hit a Saga. Blood Moon, Blood Moon, Blood Moon. Okay, well, let's go Monument into... Go to combat with the Inti. I think I'll be discarding the Barbarian Ring first here. I'm going to make a treasure token so I can kill the Emperor of Bones. Zebo with the 11 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Another Inti flipped over here, so not going to be the most helpful to us. My opponent, in this moment, decides to Solitude the Inti. Which is like, if I had a Mox Opal, I could just play this other Inti. I'd probably better to do that on Instep. I don't know. I guess on Instep I also get the Cookbook card. But they should have done it before I attacked. Aether Vial. Relic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and loot away this Galvanic Blast. Make it food. So let's go Mox Opal. Monument. Yeah, sometimes you'll activate the return a creature mode on Cookbook. It's like it's obviously a late game only thing. Sure hope nobody blood moons me. Please don't Siege Rhino either. So they're just dead next turn too. I just get a Cookbook, I monument I copy the monument, and I just deal 9, deal 9. They targeted both Sagas. I don't think those were the best things to target though. It's obviously a great top deck. Now I'm gonna draw 3, so we don't lose to another Force of Vigor. And I think it's going to be better to cast Looting instead of the Asmo, because I get to make 3 treasure tokens, and I get to deal 9 damage. And then I can now play I can play the Cookbook on their turn. But I'm not going to be able to have anything to discard to it, right? So is there any reason to play it? I don't really see one. If I flash back to Looting, I've already done all the modes in the Monument, so let's hold this for now. The rare tapped Monument to Endurance. Round 3 of the challenge is about to start, so this is good timing here. I think we're about to be 2-1 in the league, or 1-1 in the challenge. We just beat Prowess on a pretty exciting mull to 4 in Game 3. We lost to Eldrazi in Round 1. Got out top decked, predictably. The Saga worked the same way as Blood Moon with Alpine Moon and Harbinger. My understanding is it's the same. And then with Blood Sun is a card that does remove the construct making ability from the Saga. Yeah, we copied this with Mycosynth Gardens. Well, my opponent's pretty dead. I need to use the restroom before round 3 starts, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. Try not to run over any dogs. Yes, there's a dog who is right behind me. Okay, well, opponent's still not here. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we won the die roll. Okay, so our first die roll won. When is Final Fantasy Early Access stream? They uninvited me from the Arena one, and there's not one for Magic Online. I would probably do the Arena one, too, if they hadn't so rudely snubbed me. Alright, I do want to play my Opal turn 1, so I could potentially Galvanic Blast... Or maybe I just haven't seen the email. Has Saga you been ubiquitous and oppressive this morning? I wouldn't say that. Well, maybe I would say that. Maybe I would say that. I mean, if this is Boros, the Blood Moon doesn't really do much. Except give me infinite constructs. What format would I play in Arena? I like Timeless a lot, but I also like Standard. I streamed Standard for a while last year. I would stream some Final Fantasy Early Access in Standard. Alright, so let's get the Monument down. I'm gonna discard the Blast since I've got to keep this Asmo. Draw a card. If I draw a land, I don't know that I'm playing the Asmo because usually I like to play Asmo and then kill something with it in these kind of matchups. We're 2-1 in the challenge. You lost a close one to Eldrazi, then we won a close one against Prowess, and we won a close one against Boros. Hey, Nebel. Been enjoying your 2 videos of Fuse away from Magic. Well, good to see you in chat. Glad you're dipping your toes back in. Thanks for the resub. Hope you're doing well. Got any Cruel Brews in Standard? Well, no one invites me to the Arena thing, so I haven't been thinking about it very much, but if I ever get back on that list, I'll have some brews for y'all. So I guess I want to go cycle the Wraith, make 1 treasure, deal them 3. Why today wasn't supposed to be a set release? Yeah, I thought so too. But they put it on today. I mean, to some extent, right? They gotta do the downtime and implement the rules change. It's probably not super easy for them to just push the rule change on like Tuesday. So I'm probably just gonna make them lose 6 on their turn here. Oh, the Blood Moon Saga change already happened. How busted is this interaction? Well, it looks pretty good so far. I'll say, even against Boros here. Like, we're cutting them off Flage, or maybe cutting them off double spells. I really like this deck as our first Blood Moon Saga deck, too, because we're a Faithless Looting Cookbook deck, Inti deck, so we can get rid of our moons if they're bad. They're targeting the Blood Moon here, which is kind of wild. Also, Witch Enchanter in Boros is, like, seems very good. I'm just now thinking to myself, why haven't I really ever seen that? I do think I have Lethal. It's not just a mountain that doesn't die. You can still make construct tokens if it went to chapter 2. Yeah, but I was just going to be able to kill their Witch Enchanter, attack for 3, get another Cookbook off Saga, hit them for 6, untap, hit them for 6 more. So they probably should not have targeted the Blood Moon, but who's counting? Okay, so I'm bringing in the Heat, so cutting the Blood Moons. Let's bring in the second Lantern. Let's bring in the Needle. I think I'm going to cut Daredevil 4, Inti 4 on the draw. Yeah, Monument Cookbook just kills so fast when you have 2 of them. So Watsy did Moon Saga on purpose rather as an oversight. Well, this was not explicitly for this interaction. It was for the Saga creatures that were entering Standard was the main reason. As far as if they did this on purpose, it's kind of hard to say. I would like to think that they did, but I was not in the room where it happened. I think we lead on looting here. Could be good to lead on the Saga. Discarding another monument. Might discard the Asmo since I can't cast it anytime soon. I think that makes sense enough to me. We'll play this Opal so we get the Daredevil back. I want to play this archetype for so long, and I own probably everything except Opals. Any suggestion for a filler for the slot? You could play Marauding Mako pretty easily. You also would probably need to play like 2 more lands though, so something like that. Ragavan. Not a bad turn 2. Not a very good draw either. I think it would be cool for the Saga creatures to sack themselves at the end. They do, don't they? I thought they do. According to the blog talk, Modern never came up. Change was made to simplify the rule for Standard. Yeah, I kind of figured that that was the case. To some extent, it just is kind of sad that they, like, kind of seem like they're back on this don't think about Modern design space. Maybe that's not the case. I would hope it's not the case. We're probably going to game 3 in a second. Yeah, let's go to game 3. I want to make sure we can finish this round before round 4, the challenge starts. The Final Fantasy 16 sagas transform back into their front side because of how the sagas work, but the 10 saga creatures sack. Oh, I didn't realize it was like lore-based, which ones flip back and which ones don't. That's kind of interesting. a little greedy. I think we've got enough. We see enough cards here. Okay, that's a really, really good draw. I think I'm going to discard one of the monuments this time because I just kind of need to be recurring this Daredevil with the second looting. Always baffled me is Modern one of their biggest non-EDH format though. It used to be like the de facto biggest. I do think maybe Standard has eclipsed Modern in popularity. I wouldn't really know, honestly. It's kind of hard to tell. But just in general, it seems like good practice to like think these things out. Lore-wise, Final Fantasy 16 summons are people turning into them, so that's why they changed back. That's cool. Seems like there's a lot of like love and care on the Final Fantasy set. Yeah, I definitely agree that the fact that they didn't mention the Urza Saga interaction in the changelog is like a big sign that they didn't think about it. Has Modern ever been bigger than Standard? I think absolutely during the COVID era it was. I think I would even say like though like the whole MH2 era, it was more popular. Like there was just and again I'm certainly like biased but this is just my impression. That could be off, but that's my impression at least. Okay, didn't sack. It's good for me, obviously. Yes. Well, I guess I could make a treasure, and then I could flash back the looting and get the other 2 modes, but then I wouldn't have the burn up, which I think is okay, probably. Oh my gosh! Okay, now I've got my burn up. Sorry, I meant to sack the treasure and cast the looting. So you want to kill the Johnny while it's flipped, I think. Although it probably doesn't really matter. I guess it's a bit easier for them to get rid of an artifact here than it is to keep me off Delirium. It's like 1 mana Shatter versus Surgical. I guess there's not really any 1 mana Shatter, so maybe that's not even the case. The power of just having a burn spell. It also depends on how you define a format's popularity. Sure, yeah, I guess. So let's go discard. Make a treasure, you lose 3. It's kind of overcommitting to play. Okay, the other cookbook. Probably fine. Will they sack this one to the bombardment? They've missed a... They missed one earlier. Come on, you can't be that naive that they just didn't think about Saga, the most played Saga in a format, when coming up with more sagas. So what do you think happened? I think absolutely that whoever like it doesn't seem like they thought this out. I think that there's a very, very good chance that when they thought about Saga, they didn't realize it was going to keep the constructs because of how unintuitive this is. But I guess let me know what you think happened. I probably should have waited on this. See if it's yelling. Just like what do you think happened? It's to sell fucking cards. Okay, yeah. Okay, so affinity friendly artifacts. When you say it's to sell cards, one thing is, of course, Wizards of the Coast is always trying to sell cards to you. That is always their main goal, is to sell cards. Usually when like this point is made, it's to sell cards. I'm always like a little confused how like it even like why do you think that this sells cards? Why does like do you think you're trying to sell Urza Saga, a card that like is not in print at the moment? Like what do you mean by it's to sell cards? Like of course they're trying to sell cards to us. That is always their express goal. But but what does there's more to like everything than it's to sell cards. You could say how does this sell cards? And I am genuinely asking, like, if you have an answer for me, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I just feel like it's pretty reductive. Maybe I should have copied the thing earlier. Okay, we're 3-1 in this league. There's 2 matches in progress, but only 36 minutes. Let's just jump in there. You're not going to get an answer to that one. Yeah, I know. It's like, I sincerely think people are used to posting on like Reddit and Twitter going, they're just trying to sell cards and like and getting upvotes. And then they just are used to saying that. But like, yes, obviously they're trying to sell cards to you. How does this decision sell cards? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it does to me. Maybe it does. I would genuinely love to know. But we just need more of an in-depth conversation than, you're not thinking about it, Spike. You can't be that naive that they didn't think about Urza Saga. They're trying to sell cards to you. You know, like, let's be normal. Let's be normal. Please. Yes, the card game company is trying to sell you cards. Of course I agree. Of course this is the case that they made this change to buff the new cards. This does not in any way relate to your first comment, and I'm of course just trying to, hammer this out with you. This doesn't relate in any way to your first comment about them. Your first comment. Let me read your first comment. Your first comment was, "Come on, you can't be that naive. They just didn't think about Urza Saga, the most played saga in a format, coming up with more sagas." I agree completely that they made this to buff the new cards. That's explicitly what they said. Of course, that's the case. How did we get here? How did we get here? How you can't be that naive that they didn't think about Urza Saga, the most played saga in a format, coming with more sagas. How does this relate to they didn't want to make the new cards not shit? These are just 2 different things. Okay, round... Oh, who did the channel point prediction? Okay, round 4 is about to start. And our hand sucks now that the Inti is dealt with. Okay, go ahead and cancel the prediction. I'm going to go ahead and just focus on the challenge.